Yeah, here's a little project that I've been meaning to get to. I've had this for well over a year now. It's a fast lane sea runner RC boat. Um, Straight out of the box, it is very slow, like you can imagine new brights and that are. Like this does not even get up on plane. It's a prop and rudder. This, I believe, is the second generation of this model. There's an exact one with different stickers called the Seabird by Fastlane. And on the hull over here, it had the style number, which was GB9306. Now on the box that this one came in for style number, it just says 9306. Got the hull apart and gutted. So as you can see, I've decided for this conversion to go with an NQD jet drive. I cut out some of these poles that are sticking up, roughed out the holes for the jet unit. So now I just have to drill out the mounting screws for the jet unit, and I'm sure this little unit will get this boat up on plane. This is the stator I'm using for the Sea Runner boat build. This one was on my yellow jet boat, and about a year ago I broke it. It snapped off. One of the little hinge pins busted off, so I did a little fix. Found a really small screw, drilled a little hole, and just basically put the screw in there and got it working again. So this is going to go on the Sea Runner boat build. I ran into a couple of snags. The transom is not 90 degrees. There's a bit of an angle on it. So as you can see, we have a wide gap at the top of the flange on the jet unit and a very narrow one at the bottom. So what I had to do was make some basically wedge shaped adapter pieces out of scrap plastic. So that'll go in there. Now I had to create one for the jet unit and basically one for the stator. Because of the angle, the impeller shaft is at an angle, so I needed to level this out with another shim so that it'll bolt straight on. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it'll bolt straight on and keep the impeller shaft in line with the bushing. One of the other problems I have is because it's a V hull, I have a rather large gap up front. Now I don't know if you can see that, so I gotta try and fill this in somehow, and I want it to be a permanent fix. I don't want to just slap some silicone in there. So I'm going to build it up with ground up plastic. I used a file and some little bits, some of these little posts here, and pieces that I cut out and whatnot that I didn't need. I just use a piece of paper and grind them up by hand on a file and pour the dust into this container. So I'm going to make a lot more of this stuff, but I'm going to mix this kind of like wood filler with some 2-part epoxy, and then I'll just build up the area here that I need to close up that gap, and it'll be sandable and be able to shape it to what I need. Now, okay, so I globbed in the mixture of ground plastic and 2-part epoxy. I'm I'm going to let that set up a little bit till it's almost dry. And hopefully while it's still in the soft, tacky state, well, not so much tacky, but soft, I'm going to press the jet drive in and hopefully compress it down to form around the jet unit without it sticking to the jet unit. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so it seems to have somewhat worked. It shaped any little gaps or anything. Now the silicone will seal that up. So I'll silicone all around the opening when I install the jet unit. Okay, got the jet unit in. The shims seem to work out fine. Okay, so I took some scrap pieces of plastic and epoxy glued them in the back here. This will be the support tray for the steering servo, and this one for the speed control. I've got the waterproof boot for the steering rod, and I still got to drill a hole for the cooling system to go up through. And this scrap piece of plastic is going to get bolted in the boat as a battery tray. I'm going to go right around here somewhere. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. So here's where I'm at with the boat. I got the battery straps on. I had to make an extension for the battery, but I got a Sea King 25 amp 2 to 3S water cooled ESC. It's an old one. I had to solder the wires for the receiver back onto it. The motor, I'm not sure what the brand is anymore. It's pretty old. It's 2830 3800 kV brushless. For servo, I found a really old Futaba FP S148, and basically the only thing new in here is the receiver, which is a FlySky GR3E receiver. So here's where I'm at with the top deck. I made some homemade running lights, so I'll be able to run at night. This was just some bits of plastic and marette that I basically filed and sanded to shape and come up with the rear light. And at the front we have the red and green running light. So this style of locking clip off of a busted toy truck is what I ended up using for the base. And the silver part is a push button off a broken flashlight. So I also painted the bar here silver. It was originally molded in white, and you could barely see it. It just blended in with the boat. So I just used some tester model paint, painted that silver, and then I found this little set of horns and painted those. They were gray plastic. Painted them silver with little accents of brass, and plugged up the hole for the antenna that was originally on here with the horns. So the lights, I wired them in off this little switch that was originally the on-off switch for the radio that was in there, and basically you put your cover in, help keep the water out. You can lock it down and turn it almost all the way if you don't want the running lights on, or if you want them on, then you just turn it the last little bit, turn it all the way, and you get your running lights. So I'm just running those off of 2 AAAs, and there you can see the on-off switch. It works out pretty good. So there you can see it with the running lights on. Doesn't look too bad. It's red and the green. Camera doesn't do it really any justice, but all in all, pretty happy with that. Not too shabby. So as you can see, these aren't glued on. That's actually screwed. This one too, I got 4 little teensy screws. It's kind of hard to see. But yeah.